Firearms are tools designed for combat, hunting, sport, and self-defense that in any situation must always be safe enough to carry loaded without fear that they will go off by themselves due to any situation to which they are exposed. However, this is not the case with many revolvers, rifles, and pistols that are still used throughout the world today, most of the time with their users unaware of the dangers to which they are exposed, just by using some of these unsafe specimens that in certain cases, with almost any carelessness, they can turn against their bearer in a matter of fractions of seconds. Today, we are going to talk about 6 dangerous self-firing firearms.
Number 6. Old-style single-action revolvers. Regardless of the position of its hammer, an old-style single-action revolver with a loaded chamber under the firing pin may discharge if accidentally dropped or struck on the hammer. The safety notch in the hammer provides only limited protection against accidental blows to the hammer or accidental pulling of the trigger. Ever since the introduction of the famous Peacemaker single-action revolver over 100 years ago, it has been generally known that the safest way to carry such revolvers is to load no more than 5 cartridges and to keep an empty chamber under the firing pin. Some of the other brands of old-style single-action revolvers, particularly those of foreign manufacturer, have additional various manual safeties which may or may not be reliable. Even if it functions properly, a manual safety device is no safer than the person using it. It is useless if it is not used or if it is used improperly by mistake. Number 5. Remington 700 model. The Remington 700 model is renowned for its accuracy and smooth, crisp trigger mechanism, a mechanism once held as revolutionary in firearm design. It is exactly this mechanism that is the problem. It's called the Walker Fire Control Trigger, patented by an engineer named Merle Mike Walker in 1950. It features a paperclip length slice of metal called a trigger connector, which floats inside the firing mechanism between the trigger and the sear, the metal bar that holds back the firing pin, connected to the trigger by nothing more than the tension from the spring. Because the connector is not closely bound to the trigger, it separates from the trigger body when the gun is fired, creating a gap in which rust, debris, or dirt can lodge. This can prevent the connector from returning to its proper position, causing the trigger to lose complete contact with the rest of the firing mechanism. Even a small jolt or bump can knock the connector out of alignment. Then, allegedly, the gun can fire when the safety or bolt are operated, even merely touched. Due to its design, the Remington has been the subject of a number of lawsuits alleging that it's prone to firing without a trigger pull.
Oh, wow. That's pretty amazing.
Number 4. Nambu Pistol Type 94. The Japanese Nambu Type 94 pistol is one dangerous sidearm, not in the sense of its firepower, but in terms of its terrible design that produces accidental discharge. When loaded, the pistol was known to fire at the worst possible times. Witness why the Nambu Type 94 pistol might be the most dangerous handgun ever made. Back in World War II, Japanese forces used the Nambu Type 94 pistol as their service pistol. The Nambu Type 94 pistol was chambered for the weak 8mm Nambu cartridge. The magazine capacity was 6 rounds. When loaded, if the pistol could fire accidentally if the exposed sear bar gets pushed. Holstering a loaded Nambu Type 94 pistol could cause a nasty accident when that sear bar gets bumped. Now that is scary for us concealed carriers. Number 3. Taurus PT-247DS. The Taurus PT-247 was developed and is manufactured by Forges Taurus, SA of Brazil. It was mainly aimed at law enforcement forces and civil customers. This weapon was introduced in 2004. The Taurus PT-247 is available in a variety of models. This pistol is used by Brazilian military and police, and possibly some other operators. A Brazilian gun manufacturer faces 2 lawsuits from U.S. citizens claiming that triggers on Taurus 9mm pistols are defective, including one claim involving the death of an 11-year-old boy. The gun trigger lawsuits comes just months after Taurus International reached a $30 million class action settlement over problems with 9 models of Taurus 9mm pistols. One of the lawsuits was filed by Donald Sims of Alabama in a Florida court on October 30th. The other was filed the same day by Jason Friend of Kentucky. According to Sims's lawsuit, he owned the gun less than a year when, on February 15th, he was trying to insert a magazine into a Taurus PT 609 9mm. The magazine did not go in properly, so he slapped it with the bottom of his hand. The lawsuit indicates that this caused the slide to spring shut, and the gun went off when bumped a second time. Sims claims he never touched the trigger. The bullet went through Sims's hand, through his wife's arm, and hit his son in the neck. The 11-year-old boy died from his injuries. A similar complaint filed by Friend alleges that his Taurus 24/7 Pro DS went off when it fell out of his holster and hit the ground in February 2014. Friend, a police officer, was shot in the leg. According to the lawsuit, the bullet caused serious nerve, bone, and tissue damage. He had owned the gun for more than 5 years. In July, Taurus agreed to settle a class action lawsuit that claimed that 9 of the company's pistol designs had defective triggers, which could result in the handguns firing while the safety was engaged. That lawsuit was brought by an Iowa sheriff's deputy, whose gun went off when he dropped it while chasing a suspect in 2013. There were no injuries in that incident. The same year, the São Paulo Brazilian military police recalled 98,000 Taurus 24/7 pistols from officers after reports that the pistols were going off without anyone pulling the trigger. The settlement agreement allows anyone who owns one of the affected pistols to return them to the company for payments of up to $200. Number 2, Inter-Ordnance. Many like to pile on to the abysmal reputation that Inter-Ordnance AK-47 rifles have earned. While yes, there are those that get what seem to be solid rifles, the trend, piling on again to the reputation, is AK Operators Union 4774 with their well-respected 5,000 round shooting test, admittedly with a bit of torture thrown in for good measure. Unfortunately, the Inter-Ordnance rifle was not able to make it through the first magazine without a major functional failure. AK Operators Union was unable to zero the rifle due to a defect. The front sight post does not hold position within the front sight. Some shooters were able to move the front sight post using just a finger, which should be substantially more difficult to move. The interference fit between the parts should require a press or adjustment tool to move while adjusting windage. Combined with a failure to feed in the second magazine, and a few rounds later, this does not bode well for the long-term performance of the rifle. A class action lawsuit takes aim at a South Florida gun dealer. It claims certain AK-47 rifles can fire unexpectedly without someone pulling the trigger. Number 1, Sig Sauer P320. A former U.S. Marine and federal agent has filed a $10 million lawsuit against Sig Sauer Inc., alleging that his holstered Sig P320, a pistol that the Army's new sidearm is based on, accidentally discharged, firing a 9mm bullet right into his right leg. The lawsuit, filed on behalf of Keith Slutowski in U.S. District Court in Pennsylvania, alleges his substantial injuries were the result of the handgun's potentially deadly design defects that allow it to fire without the user pulling the trigger, according to a news release from Slutowski's attorney, Jeffrey Bagnall and Robert Zimmerman. Thank you for watching. Now go and see which are the 5 most common accidents with firearms.